Buenos dias, Debra. Thank you for joining us today at Business Spotlight Series. Today, I'm excited to introduce Debra Cairns, Managing Director of Net Defense, a company that provides IT support, telephony, cyber, and information security. Welcome, Debra.
Thank you so much. Great to join you today.
So, Debra, tell us, how did you end up doing what you do?
Very organic for me. I certainly didn't aspire to become a managing director or be a female in tech. It's through education, learning, opportunity. I spent 20 years within Procter & Gamble doing various roles in finance, accounting, and audit. And that's where my qualifications sit from a finance point of view. I then reached across into IT audit, mostly because no one wanted to do it and it was an opportunity. And started to find a real passion for governance and risk and compliance. And after that period of time, cyber was starting to emerge in the world. And that's how I kind of ended up joining Net Defense and progressed very quickly through different roles to become MD during 2020.
Yeah, I can see your progression there, head of operations, operations director, managing director. Well done. How did you transition from the large corporate of Procter & Gamble to the smaller businesses?
There was some good spots and there was some tricky spots. I think the good was to see a lot of the red tape and a lot of the hoops and all of the presentations and pitching and periods of change are always very slow. In a corporate entity and move into a family-owned business, it's a lot more rapid, it's a lot more agile, and that played very well from my point of view. And I really wanted to make sure that I found an organization that had very similar values and principles to Procter & Gamble. It's where I cut my teeth, it's where I earned my stripes, it's part of who I am. It still remains in my DNA today, and it was really trying to find that match, but trying to see some different ways of working, being closer to the ground, closer to the customer.
Brilliant. Is IT something you always wanted to do from a school day?
No, absolutely not. Back in, we'll not count those years, but in those few years ago, when I was starting to consider my kind of career options, it really wasn't a subject that was pushed to girls. And there was no talk of career choices in technology at all for girls at that point in time. And I still believe it is a challenge that we face today with girls leaving school. And great to see things like STEM programs working these days to try and make a change. Nope, when I first left school, I was going to be a nurse and I was going into nursing. And those were the types of jobs that girls were kind of pushed towards: nursing, teachers, nursery nurse, all caring professions. All great in their own rights, but after doing my kind of foundation, decided it wasn't really where I wanted to be, and left that. And I don't know that I even have chosen my career just yet. I think we ask 16-year-olds to make decisions about careers, and I don't think at 16 you've got any idea what that might be. And I'm in my 40s now, and I'm not sure this is my final career choice either. So no, definitely not in my early years.
Brilliant. How do you promote yourselves? How do you get clients? Do you go to exhibitions? I mean, I know of InfoSec. I think you call it InfoSecurity in London.
Yeah, we do. The traditional methods for reaching customers, particularly in technology and cyber, don't really work. So my entire business these days is built around networking, referrals, events, that word of mouth, brand reputation, as opposed to some of the traditional methods of cold calling, cold emailing, lots of campaigns. It's really built around awareness and training, helping organizations to make informed decisions about what they need from an IT provider or from a cyber security point of view. So all of our sales and all of our marketing activity really is all around kind of network and being present in the organizations that need our services, but being very prevalent in the communities in which we work in. So I'm split. So I spend half my life in Newcastle, as I think the voice will probably allude to, when we have an office down here in Gateshead. And then my other half of my life is over the Scottish border, in a beautiful place called Stirling. That's where our parent company's head office is. So half of my staff are up there. So I work between the two.
Okay, well, we are based here in Glasgow, so it's
yeah, not far. I'm in Glasgow quite a lot. I love the music scene and the restaurant scene in Glasgow. It's a beautiful city. I do enjoy it a lot.
Great. Now let's talk about recruitment. Many of the businesses we interview, they all agree how difficult recruitment is, finding talent and keeping talent. And I know in the IT, cybersecurity industry, might be hard to find young people wanting to.
Excuse me, we have automatic lights in the room. Sorry.
Okay, it's okay. So yeah, are you finding a challenge, recruitment, finding talent in the industry to?
Yeah, we have definitely faced our challenges, just like lots of other companies are facing. And I think the challenges across Glasgow and the wider Scotland area are very similar to those that are faced in the Northeast. They are high unemployment, higher than we'd like it to be. And it's very well talked in my sector of how short we are of talent in the cyber community. Things that we've done that are a little different. I don't recruit externally for cyber roles anymore. What I do is use my existing IT guys and IT support team and train them up through cyber. It means that when we deliver our cyber services, we come at it with an IT background and a strong customer service background, which are incredibly important. If something is wrong in your cyber setup, it's probably something that somebody's put in from an IT point of view. So we felt that has allowed us to grow and nurture our own talent and retain staff at a much better rate than we were previously. And it helps us combat a huge gap in the cyber talent and being able to attract those individuals in. I think COVID plays a role. I think when COVID allowed us all to work from home, and previously it was just not really a thing for a lot of roles. I think that led to great opportunities for individuals to be able to work for a London-based or more expensive-based companies and earn those salaries, which is fantastic. But as a business owner and an MD of a small business, I can't afford those salaries. So we combated that by doing it that way. And we try wherever possible to support apprenticeship programs coming through. And we have a huge promote from within. You can tell from my history, I came through a strong promote from within. And I did that during my time with P&G as well. So I think that is a great way of being able to really kind of keep your talent, develop them and grow them, and they grow with you.
Yes. What is one of the main attributes you look for in people when you recruit people? What are you looking for? Attributes.
Two things: passion for something, whether they're a 16-year-old apprentice just coming out of school, as long as they can show me some passion, then I'm interested. As we kind of have more miles on the clock, shall we say, and we talk about those more mature and experienced candidates, I'm looking for passion in what they do. I think if you're passionate and you love what you do, you tend to be much better at it than someone who's just treading the days away. And I think it is about quality of service for me. Something that's often missed from a tech side of the world is customer service. If you want to attract and keep a customer, then you need to show that customer amazing service, going that above and beyond. And in an SME, we have to be able to flex to that customer. We have to be agile, internal. So those are the only two things I ever look for when I'm interviewing for any role across my business, regardless of level.
Brilliant. And why do customers come to you? What do they find attractive?
We try to keep things as bespoke as possible. So we don't believe that one size fits all. We have a huge range of customer base across many sectors and sizes. So we deal with a one-man business around the corner, just starting up, or has maybe been in business for a while, right up to some national well-known names, and several not-for-profits also. And it is about listening to them and becoming a solution for them, not force fitting, a set of packages that are already there, and you pick from what's available, and becoming their partner.
Yes.
So we're that safe pair of hands. We're at the end of the telephone when something goes wrong, and we step in so that we're there as part of their organization, part of their business, and invested just like they are in success.
Brilliant. Excellent. Now, tell us, you want to share with us some of the challenges you had to face, you know, as an MD?
There are so many. I think there are. There's lots of small ones. I think that you face them every day. I think there are some bigger ones. I think I think COVID brought some particularly big challenges for me. If we talk about personal challenges first rather than the business, is that okay? So from a personal challenge point of view, I took over MD. I was acting MD just before COVID, and I was made permanently an MD right in the middle of COVID. So as an MD, I was full of all of this excitement of things I wanted to do and things I wanted to change, and the difference I wanted to make. And in reality, it came much more about supporting our customers through an absolute unknown, through the pandemic. And really, it was then about making sure we had people who were at the end of the telephone to help people set up to be able to work from home. And it helped me to see what was critical for those organizations. So I think that in itself was a huge challenge. There's an expectation when you become a leader in an organization, you're going to make a difference and you're going to make a change. And what they said was, well, you can all go work from home. We'll lock the doors and see how you get on. But I think there was a lot of value that came from that for me, because that really helped me to really see what our customers need, what our customers care about. But would I want to do it again? Absolutely not. I think from a personal level, I'm often my own problem, if I'm honest. I do suffer with imposter syndrome, and I talk quite openly about it. I think there are many of us that do have that in varying degrees and levels. And I think normalizing it is the right thing to do. What I've found over time is really about sharing that vulnerability, which is not easy, but it is something I'm trying to do more of. And I think a few things happen when you share that vulnerability. Your employees see you as a human, and suddenly you're not this boss on a pedestal that knows everything. And what starts to happen is then they will tell you things that you don't know. And they can be real huge nuggets that you're just not going to get any other way. But what you also, when you tell them you're vulnerable, or, I don't know how to do that. What do you think? Suddenly they come up with these amazing ideas. They're empowered to make a difference for themselves and grow in their own rights. And that just grows an incredible management team. That it's not a solo sport running a business. You do need a really cool team behind you. So I think those are the things that probably most recently I've faced.
Brilliant. Well, thanks for sharing that. Somebody told me that imposter syndrome is more prevalent amongst women. I didn't know that. You have very successful CEO women that suffer from imposter syndrome, and they are leading huge organizations.
Yeah, I've done a little research on it. I hate not knowing something. So if something comes up and I don't know, I'm gonna go find an answer. I can't bear not knowing. I don't know how I survived without Google, because now I'm like, I'll just ask Google what Google says about that. So I did do some research. It's part of the reason why we have a shortage, I think, in women in cyber, if I'm totally honest. So when you look at it and a man applies for a job or looks for a career change, if they hit about 80%, sometimes even less, 50% of the criteria, they'll give it a go. They'll blag it, they'll give it their best shot, and they'll put themselves out there. When a woman looks at the same, if they don't hit about 90% of the criteria, they'll not even put their name forward. And I think that it comes from a lot of things. Personally, I do think it comes from this being all things to all people. We are raised as girls to be everything to everybody, and then we become wives, and we become mothers, and then we become leaders, and there's just this expectation of perfection, and we start to hold ourselves up to that regard. And in reality, we can't be all things to everybody, but I do believe that is what is at the core. And the generation I came from is exactly that. You can be a woman, you can have a career, you can have a family, you can have everything, but you know what, it's pretty exhausting. And I do think that's where my imposter syndrome initially comes from, that striving for perfection that doesn't exist. and being that all things to all people at all times.
Interesting. How do you balance then family and business? Because, it's, yeah.
It's a life balance, and it's something that I sometimes over insist in my employees. I've got some great employees across the team, and they are all dedicated to what they do. But we can only be as good as we are if we take the time outside of work, whether that's with family, with friends, holidays, just taking time. If you don't get that balance, you can't be the best that you can be at work. Me personally, it is about, when I'm in the office, I work hard. If I need to stay late, I'll stay late, but within reason. But I take the break. When I'm on holiday, I completely disconnect. I leave my team with a WhatsApp ability to get in touch with me. And then they have to think about it, because if you send me an email, you can send an email anytime. But if you have to WhatsApp me while I'm, sunning myself in Ibiza, it takes more thought process to think about that. So I take time to disconnect. And when I do disconnect, I make sure that I just do the things that I love, travel, friends, restaurants, food, music, and do all of those things. And I think it does, you come back to Monday on a Monday morning with more energy, and be more refreshed. But I also think that when you have that ethic of family first, when you face challenges of sick children, sick parents, grandparents, people who need additional childcare help, it's an okay thing to come to me and say, you know what, I really need to take tomorrow off because I've got a doctor's appointment or a hospital appointment, or my grandmother needs some help. And I think having that ethic from the top makes it easier. And you know what you get in return is loyalty. And when they're in the office, they're 110% all the time.
Yeah, you make up. Yeah, no, definitely.
Yeah.
Brilliant. So what's your favorite book?
Oh, that's a mean question for me, because I don't have a favorite. I am a bit eclectic with books, like I am with music. Music is my feeds my soul. I have music on morning, noon, and night. If you ask me about music, I could talk till the cows come home. Books, a lot like music, are really about how I'm feeling at that point in time. So if I feel like I'm not in a great place, then it might be a self-help book I pick up, a leadership book, or an inspiring article, a biography. If I'm on holiday and I'm unwinding, it's a bit of trash, an easy read. And then, I do love a true crime and a thriller, but not, unfortunately, I don't have a favorite book. A few classics that I read when I was at school that still stay with me.
Yes, great. When you think about of success, what comes to mind?
My network, to be honest. I think when I was growing up, and when I was at different stages in my life, getting married, having a child, having a divorce, COVID, I think there are different role models that you look to at different stages in your life. I think now I'm kind of heading for my 50s. When I look at success, it's about my network. I'm very, very lucky that I've collected some amazing women in my network, and we are such a diverse group that we all inspire and cheer, and support each other through good and bad, which I think is fantastic. Currently, I have a little bit of hero worship going on for Sarah Davies, who is part of the Dragon's Den. She's a local girl to the Northeast. I've heard her speak a few times, and I've read her biography a couple of times as well. She's gone through some really tough times. She's a fierce woman who will not do anything other than succeed in anything that she does, and she's a huge supporter of others trying to do the same. So I think right now she's my little crush just now, and that's certainly someone I look up to.
Wonderful. So Debra, what advice would you have for your 18-year-old self?
I think what I still use right now is, if you don't know, find out. Never stop learning, never stop looking, never stop questioning, because you just don't know where your next passion is going to come from. I think do what you love, do what drives you and gives you passion until you stop loving it. And when you stop loving it, go find something else that you love. As I said a little earlier, I'm not sure I've finished with my career choices in my 40s. Who knows what my 50s might bring? The only constant in life is change. And I think just embrace it, love it, and live it.
Yes, wonderful. Well, change is a sign of life, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, wonderful. Well, Debra, thank you so much. It's been a real pleasure having you on board today with us at Business Spotlight, and for sharing your experience, wisdom, and being so, sharing your vulnerability. I think that's a wonderful thing to do, and it takes courage.
Thank you. I do appreciate it. I think if we can just get the message out to more women, join cyber, or embrace what makes you you.
Wonderful. Debra, thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you.
Oh, thanks very much. Take
Yeah.
care.